What it do? Dream Team, it's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with the truth about living in Germany, an American's point of view. Now, before we dive into this, y'all know what I need y'all to dive into. That subscribe button, ring the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media, Patreon, all up top. You want to subscribe to any of it? Put all the links in the description. All you got to do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Human, I talk back. If you got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Where we go?
So when I landed in Germany, I remember the first thing that was kind of a shock was hopping on a train. I had never been on a train. Now it seems really normal, but I hopped on a train, went through the beautiful countrysides of Germany down to a little city called Marana. And I remember being kind of shocked at how small it was and that we had a car. And then there were little tiny things that were shocking to me. I mean, just for the fun of saying what they were, there was like a light switch. They're not like switches, they're kind of like pads. So you hit a whole entire pad. Or the pillows, they're not rectangle, they're squares. And they're windows. They don't open up and down or side to side. They tip in and out, and they open kind of like a door. So there was a lot of little differences like that. They have, I mean, our apartment had our washer and dryer in the kitchen. And then I thought that was just our apartment, and then I realized a lot of apartments are like that. So those were little tiny things, but nothing big. My favorite food.
It's so cool hearing from Americans that have gone to Germany and just hearing all the differences that they noticed over there compared to America. And I think that's really awesome. But keep it rolling.
So those were little tiny things, but nothing big. My favorite food in Germany is just schnitzel and rotkohl. Rotkohl is just red cabbage, and they would have Klöße. So that's basically it looks like a potato, but it's not. It's just a dumpling. I guess that's what it is in English. And that was my favorite. Was when we just had schnitzel, rotkohl, and Klöße. I also really liked rouladen, which was just meat rolled up and they'd marinate it, and it just tasted really good. I like their meat.
That sounds good.
Simply said.
That sounds good. I want to try that. I want to try it.
Just tasted really good. I like their meat. Simply said. I really learned to like red cabbage, which I disliked. I also liked sauerkraut. Didn't like that either.
Really?
So, but by the end, I pretty much liked anything they put in front of me. The weather in Germany is similar to here in Utah. I mean, the hots are a little bit hotter and the colds are a little bit colder due to the humidity. I really like their traditions that revolve around music and the traditions that revolve around Christmas. They start Christmas at the very beginning of December, and they have the Advent site, which is the time of the Advent, and they have these Advent calendars, and they have Advent wreaths, and they celebrate each Sunday prior to the Christmas morning, and that's a tradition that I would want to hold up.
I ain't even sure what Advent is. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. Can y'all help me out in the comment section? Tell me what Advent is. But celebrating every Sunday up until Christmas, I really think that's really awesome. That's cool.
To the Christmas morning, and that's a tradition that I would want to hold up for the rest of my life with my family. And another tradition that I found interesting was they open their gifts on Christmas Eve, which is interesting to me. I always thought you do it Christmas morning, but yeah. Germans are a little bit different that way. Let's see. Another cultural thing about Germany is the public transportation. So you don't see as many cars in cities, and the roads aren't very wide because they all take public transportation. It was interesting because I spent majority on the east side, which was under communist rule, where the DDR was these last not too long ago. And so we met a lot of people who were communists. I never thought that I would become friends with a bunch of communists. It just never crossed my mind as an American, but it ended up being wonderful. I had a lot of friends that had a lot of different political views that I had never really viewed before. I learned to respect other people's opinions a lot more, to not be so hasty to judging. And I realized that the ideals of communism can be appealing. I mean, maybe.
Thank you. Shout out to, that's a big point. I feel like a lot of Americans need to learn is to be able to respect someone else's views on something. be able to try to understand why they view it that way without passing along your judgment or without trying to make them see things your way. Like, it's okay for someone else to believe something different than you, and y'all can still be friends. Like, just because y'all disagree on certain topics, like, y'all can still be friends. And then when you actually listen to understand why they view things their way, you might actually change your mind and you might start seeing things differently yourself. And so it just be open minded. And I like that. He learned to be more open minded. That's really dope. Shout out Germany for giving him that.
And I realized that the ideals of communism can be appealing. I mean, maybe I shouldn't categorize them all as communists. A lot of them were just socialist and had more of those communistic ideals. But it was still an eye opener to me when I started making friends with people with other political perspectives. If you're wanting to learn German, the key to speaking any language, I think, is just speaking it constantly, and you can do it. I didn't think I was going to be able to learn a language, but I got a lot of support from my siblings who would write me letters saying, oh, you can try something more like this, try something like that. For example, my sister, she plays the piano, so she kept telling me to continue to study and memorize the charts of the German language, which tell you der, die, and das, so the masculine, feminine, and neuter cases, and when it's going to be nominative, dative, genitive, things like that. And you memorize these endings, and she compared those to a scale, like when you're learning the piano. And so she said, just keep memorizing those, and that proved to be really beneficial. Also, in learning German, the first thing I learned is was bedeutet. So what does this word mean? So you'd say was bedeutet Haus, and then they'd say in English house. So that makes it so you can continue a conversation just by asking somebody, what does that word mean, and then they can answer that. And then the second sentence I learned was wie sagt man. Wie sagt man means how do you say tree? So wie sagt man tree, and then they'd say Baum. So
that's very helpful, bro. Bro, this man he's giving good tips on how you can ask Germans how to pronounce certain words, how to pronounce certain things, so that you're able to start speaking the language yourself. Because like the only way to really speak another language fluently is to, like you said, constantly be speaking it, be in an environment where everybody's constantly speaking it. And so I really like this video.
Tree. So wie sagt man tree, and then they'd say Baum. So those two sentences were the first things I learned in German. And then from there, if you're stranded on the street and you have to speak, you can always struggle to put a sentence together. But really, in the end, learning the language wasn't the issue. After about 4 months, it was no longer an issue. I just woke up, studied the language, and it just came pretty naturally.
Dang. That's so dope. That's all we got for this one. If you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media and Patreon, all up top. You want to subscribe to any of it, put all the links in the description. All you got to do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Love talking to you guys. You guys are the most incredible team on YouTube. It's your boy D Neal. Out.